What's up, guys? You are listening to HVAC Masters of the Hustle, and this is your host, J Dub Moneymaker, and welcome to episode 96, guys. First off, for all my new listeners out there, make sure you guys smash the subscribe button. Woo, my headphones are coming off. Make sure you guys smash the subscribe button because this podcast is helping thousands and thousands and thousands of people get to the next level, as well as for all my listeners and all my supporters out there. Everyone that reaches out every month and truly tells me how this podcast brings you and your company to the next level. Man, I love hearing all the feedback every single week, you guys. I can't believe this is episode 96 and we are in 2021. So hopefully you guys have all your goals set and everything like that. And we have a great episode for you guys on the podcast. As I say every episode, I believe everyone has a Spartan in them. It's my job, my duty, and my obligation to bring that out in you. And let's welcome our guest in the hot seat. He's no stranger. He's a beast, works at Bell Brothers, and man, does this guy turn over some crazy numbers. Let's welcome back Steven Barboza in the hot seat. How you doing, Steven? So tell my listeners a little bit about yourself. You were on an earlier episode, but maybe for some of the ones that didn't listen to that episode, how long have you been in the HVAC industry and how did you kind of get adapted and into it?
So I'm rolling into my 11th year. We kind of joked about this last time, but I was real young and I got my girlfriend pregnant. And I was like, man, I got to figure something out. So I was working at a coffee shop and I knew my uncle had went to trade school and he got a job pretty quick and he was making like $20 an hour, right? And I was like, dude, that's it, And then so I went to trade school. I took out a loan. I went to trade school, and then I've just been like just super motivated and just trying to kill it ever since.
Absolutely, man. And talking about killing it, you guys, my listeners, my technicians, hopefully you guys are driving, taking notes, mental notes, writing this stuff down because Steven Barboza, this guy is a heavy hitter. He works in Sacramento, California with Bell Brothers. And this guy is by far probably one of the best turnover techs I've seen and had the privilege to work with. Steven, talk about the numbers that you've done as a turnover tech because you've recently just crushed Bell Brothers record. So let's talk about those turnovers.
So in August, I shattered the Bell Brothers turnover record by over $100,000. I did like $508,000 in turnovers in August of this last year.
508.
I had a wicked summer.
That's a wicked summer, man.
Yeah.
And talking about, because I know to be able to turn over 500,000 in revenue, right? You had to be grinding, man. This was pedal to the metal. Every single call, you're just at it, right? You're bringing your A game, you're bringing your mindset.
I was so laser focused every day, even after work. I was dreaming about it because I had this goal. I had this goal I wanted to hit, man. People around me were probably like, man, what's this guy's deal?
what Kool-Aid is this guy drinking, man?
Exactly.
Holy crap.
Yeah. I was waking up out of bed. I wouldn't even I'd just roll out of bed. My feet would just freaking fall in my boots, dude. I was just floating.
That's funny. That's awesome.
I was in the morning. I was like, I'd be at the shop early, cleaning out my van, and then I'd be down the street from my call 30 minutes every day, just writing down all of my goals and just I would talk to myself and kind of coach myself. And I was listening to Zig Ziglar podcasts and Wally and just trying to get in the zone every day. So it was pretty awesome. I had a goal of because the previous month I had hit like over 300,000. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go for 4. And then one of my mentors was like, hey man, you only got to do like, I got to a point and one of my mentors was like, dude, you only got to do like 20,000 a day to hit 500. And so I have this in my visor. I have my goal in my van. I write down the number I want for the month, and then my daily and my monthly goal, right? And so I threw that away and I put 500,000 up there, and I just got after it.
Got after it, man. And
Yeah.
first off, I want my listeners to understand this, your drive, right? And your mindset.
Yeah.
So you changed your goal from 400,000 to an additional 1,000, knowing that the mindset that you shifted, I'm going to go ahead and hit this, right? But I want my listeners to understand that you keep this freaking number in front of you every day. You just said that you keep it in your visor of your truck, right?
Yep.
So you're looking at that thing. You go into a call, you know what you have to hit.
Absolutely. I mean, and then a lot of guys step over stuff. Like, I can't tell you how many guys I talk to moan and complain about running like drain calls or like thermostat calls. I can't tell you how many jobs sold that were condensation drains or batteries in the thermostat because I took the extra step to, ask permission or, ask them, hey, while I'm here today, would you like me to take a look at the rest of your system and see how everything's going? They're like, yeah, please do. And then, I go through everything and I show them pictures and tell them everything that's going on. And, a lot of guys, they'll go out and they'll blow the drain line and they're pissed and they just collect their diagnostic or their drain fee and leave. And they're like, man, everybody keeps giving me these drain calls. I'm like, man, I'll take them. I'll take those all day long.
Yeah, right. And then I'll go look and diagnose the system complimentary and make my own opportunity out of it. Right.
Yeah. Because you run into stuff. I mean, you run into like low charge or the pan's all rusted out or the heat exchangers got a crack in it. And these, they have no idea. Nobody's looked at their system in like 10 years.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I agree with you on that. Is not going in there with blinders. If you're a technician listening to this or a comfort advisor listeing to this, right? Or a business owner, right? Not having your team go in there with blinders, just focusing on, a 2-year-old tune-up, right? Actually looking at, if you're flushing the water heater on a plumbing call, go look in the attic at the HVAC stuff too. I mean, make there a reason why you have to go up there. Oh, I have to check out the exhausting going up, make there a reason. And then, hey, if I find anything out there out of the norm, would you like for me to bring that to your attention?
Yeah. I mean, I can't, there was my manager was talking about this last week. We had a tech go out and he took pictures of everything, right? And the ducts are all falling apart and didn't say anything to the homeowner. So then we sent a guy out after him and he goes out and sells a duct system for 14 grand.
How'd he feel?
It's like, I mean, I don't know who it was or anything, but I was just like, man, it's like, I don't know if he was afraid to share with the homeowner what he found or.
Well, that's what I think it is I think a lot of people are really scared to educate the homeowner with their findings, right? Because they're scared to start that animosity or that trust factor with which they were building, right? And they think that because they found a chink in the chain, that's going to completely fumble the call, right? They might get mad at them. They might yell out. They might give them a bad review. There's so many things. Hey, I don't want this homeowner to call the office and get pissed off because I did my job right.
Right.
That's really what they're thinking.
Yeah. I mean, and as we have a tough job. I mean, we deal with rejection, 3, 4, 5 times a day sometimes, and it's like mustering up the strength to like talk to the cute chick in high school and she tells you no, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. It's like, ooh, man. All right,
well, I don't know.
Try the next one.
Yeah, he could have been, maybe he got 3 no's that day and he was like, man, I'm not going to get my ass kicked again. I don't know. So, but you gotta deal with it,
Absolutely. So talking about your month in August, doing over 500,000, we talked about your mindset and what you did, but for my listeners that are listening to the podcast, can you talk about your process of how you build that rapport and value to where you could set up that call for the comfort advisor?
So I'm pretty good with people. Like I just ask them about themselves. I let them just talk about themselves. I let them kind of be the expert, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I try to like say something to let them know that I like them, you know, because everybody likes to be liked, right? And then I just try to build a lot of trust. I try to find something I can do for them to help break down that wall because you know they're like, man, I got a 20-year-old system and this guy's coming out and it's not working. He's going to try to sell me a new one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just try to break that down, and then you know I'll take pictures of everything. You know, say they got a bad, you know, dual run capacitor or something, right? But you know, I checked the compressor, the you know, I looked up in the attic. I checked the blower, the drains, the evaporator coil. Like I paint the whole picture for them. So I'm like, okay, you know, this is what you got going on with your system. This is why your system's non-operational, but these are some other things that I think could be a concern down the road. And I just want to share these with you. And I just show them everything, right? And then a lot of the times I'll try to like sell the repair first.
Mm-hmm.
So say they've got, you know, $2,000-3,000 in repairs, and you get a yes on that, right? And then you're like, you know, so you secure that, and you know, you just talk, you know what, guys, like your system's 20 years old. These things last about 15 to 20 years. You're right in there. You know, I'm more than happy to do these repairs for you, but I just want to let you know, with the age of your system, you could very well do these repairs, these $3,000 in repairs, and it could very well break, you know, within the next 6 months, just because the age of it, because everything else on the thing's 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, they don't even make this refrigerant anymore for this system. You know, you've got the old R22 stuff. I mean, we could still get it for you, but you know, it's like $300 a pound right now. So I just want to be clear with you. I don't want to give you a false sense of security or anything. And then they're like, okay, well, how much is a new one? And I'll tell them, I'm like,
Boom.
look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Replacing heating and air conditioning, it's expensive. Okay. But what's more expensive is dumping $3,000 into this thing and then having to turn around and replace it anyways. And then I'll kind of ballpark them. I'm like, you know, with your system, you know, don't quote me on this. I'm just the fix it guy. But you're probably looking, you know, $15,000 to $30,000 on a new system. You know, if you want the Cadillac of air conditioning, you know, they can get up there. But you know, usually they're like, oh, I'm like, well, you know, most of our clients fall, you know, on that lower to middle end of that, and you know,
Absolutely.
we've got flexible financing options. I mean, we could get something done for you,
I
you know,
want to
for
stop you just
a few
real
hundred
quick,
bucks a month.
Steven.
Yeah.
So I love where you're going with this, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
continue, but I just got to stop because some of my listeners aren't on your level, and I
Yeah.
don't want them to give. If so, you're really good at turning them over because of your
Yeah.
communication skills, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want my listeners to give budget or at least a guesstimate price
Yeah. That's
until they
just us.
get that
Yeah.
skill level. But
Yeah.
for you, absolutely. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
stop real quick, let my listeners understand. Steven turns over 500,000. So there's a
Mm.
reason why he sets his calls up like this and talks about pricing and budget beforehand, because he
Yeah.
has those tools that he can do it. So go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So then I just, you know, because most of the time that's a big dollar figure for people, right? And they're like, oh my God. And then you know, I tell them about financing, and then that kind of, um, you know, gets rid of some of those anxieties.
Uh-huh.
And then, you know, and then I just leave the rest to the comfort advisor. I just set the appointment. I ask them, are you folks home today to have somebody come by and go over this with you? And they're like, that's how I get same days. I just ask them, are you available today? And then I just
Mm-hmm.
pick up the phone because, you know, a lot of guys will, you know, they'll get like, oh, it's scheduled for a week or 2 weeks out or whatever. You know, that's a week turnover. So I try and get same days.
Oh, absolutely. And I want my listeners to understand also the importance of having same day appointments because the urgency's there, right? So when you guys have, you know, a day or 2 or 3 days or a week or 2 weeks go by, they go on vacation and come back, a lot of that urgency is gone, right? Or the
Yeah,
trust factor is gone. Maybe they forgot, out of sight, out of
they
mind.
forgot half of it already.
Exactly, right? So making sure that you guys go out there, same day estimates, same day sales, right? As bad as you guys want econ paper for my comfort advisor, you guys should be doing a next day sale or a next availability install, I mean.
Yeah, and
So
if you
you
if
guys need to make sure it's rapid, just boom,
uh,
boom, boom.
and if you can get them on a club membership before you leave, that you're golden.
Oh, absolutely. And let's talk
Yeah.
about club memberships real quick.
hmm
How does Stephen Barboza go about reclaiming and having a membership sold with Bell Brothers? How do you go about offering the membership?
So if it's a turnover, so when I get to the call, I have it in my hand, and I'll just, I'll tell them, everything I'm gonna do. I'm like, hey, while I'm doing my diagnostic today, go ahead and take a look at this. This is gonna save you a lot of money, and I just shut up. And then they sit there, and a lot of times when I come back, they have it filled out already for me. Um, and if they don't, I come back, and if it's a turnover, I'll be like, look, if you decide to do the repairs, you're going to get a discount on the repairs. If you decide to replace your system, you're going to get a fat discount on the replacement system by being a club member. And they're like, "Oh, really?" And then they sign up on it. And then and on ours, in big bold, I mean, you're not on the hook for any amount of time. And build big bold lettering on the bottom. It says you can cancel it whenever you want. So I think that kind of helps a little bit because
Absolutely.
they don't want to be on the hook. You know, I want them to go with us, but say they were to go with somebody else, they can, in their mind they're like, oh well, I can just cancel this.
Mm-hmm.
But if I get them on a club membership, it's like I would say 90% of the time it sells.
Nice. And I want
Yeah.
to talk about, as a technician now, turning a call over to a comfort advisor, right? Now, you
Mm-hmm.
being able to turn over 500,000, over 500,000 and sell, what's the importance of having that relationship with your comfort advisor? I mean, what do you do when you turn over a call? Do they reach out to you? Do you reach out to them? What's the importance of that communication right there?
So when I first started working there, like half of them wouldn't call me, but now all of them call me like every time. I think they get excited when it says Steve Barboza turnover.
They had to know what Steven did, because Steven's
Yeah,
been, I mean, you've been at another company prior. So when you first
yeah,
came back to Bell, they weren't really aware of who you were. I knew who you were. I was like,
yeah,
Steve's back. Cool. Right. I knew who you
yeah,
were in the industry and everything like that. But now that they see your names, they're like, oh, hell yeah. Right.
yeah, yeah,
How does that make you
yeah.
feel?
Pretty good. I mean, a lot of the techs I work with say I'm like extremely humble.
You are very
For like
humble.
the numbers I put up, but it's kind of weird sometimes when when those emails go through or whatever. I'm just like, man, that's cool. Like
Yeah.
it just I don't know. I forget. I guess sometimes.
And when he's talking about the emails going through and the text messages, we talk about
Mm.
culture, right? The importance of
Yeah.
culture. When you see your name go across the screen, whole company wide, right? Or all your comfort advisors, and you guys all celebrate a turnover or a repair or a system replacement that you happily involved a client, right? And you
hmm
see all these text messages come through, boom, 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 boom. Hey, congrats, congrats, congrats. It makes you feel really good, right?
Yeah. It does. Yeah. That's one thing I really like about Bell Brothers because I've worked at companies before. It doesn't matter what you do; it's never good enough. Like
Yeah, it's
you
not
can
what you
always
did
oh,
yesterday.
you
What's
could
gonna happen
always
today?
yeah, you could always do better, right? I mean, so it's really nice. Oh, and one other thing I forgot to mention, a lot of times I'll do like a parts buyback too, like if they've got no air conditioning or something, and they need a capacitor. I'll throw the cap in, club them, and then let them know when the comfort advisor comes out. He'll credit the repair towards the replacement just to get him some air conditioning going.
Absolutely. So just to get them
Yeah,
going and everything, get some skin
yeah,
in the game a little bit.
yeah. And I'll just let them know, like, hey, this is like a Band-Aid. This is like, because if they've got like their compressor amps are through the roof and they're a little low on refrigerant, motors leaking oil or something, I'll tell them like this is like a donut tire. Okay.
Yeah,
Like,
you
because
only go
I
so
don't
far with it.
yeah, because I don't want them to think they're just like that thing's just gonna keep running, because sometimes I'll go to these things and they're like, yeah, no one's ever looked at it in 20 years. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah, that's
so
when you're
but
like, oh man. Those are the ones that go, wait, there's a filter in this thing?
what?
Talk
Are there
about really quick indoor air quality. The importance of indoor air quality as a technician, and you just got promoted to a supervisor over there
mm,
at the company you work
yeah,
for. So congratulations for that.
thank you.
How are you teaching your guys the way to communicate indoor air quality filtration and things like that, especially with everything we're living in right now, and to help preserve a system?
So I'm gonna so they just put I just became supervisor last week, so I haven't been able to like
Okay.
get them trained on it, but this is what I've done in the past is, when you're talking to your homeowner, you just, educate them. Mr. Homeowner, do you know what the number one cause of air conditioning heating failure is? It's dirt. That's it. They get dirty and they break. The motors run hot, they start leaking oil, they overheat. And then so I'll take pictures of the inside of the system, and it's all clumped up with dirt and stuff, right? The blower's all dirty, and evap coils all plugged up. So I'll tell them like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and take care of this today as a part of your service. But I'm going to highly recommend this product right here. And it's, we do a lot of the iWave or like the Active Tech. And I'll tell them, I'm going to clean your system's down here today. I'm going to bring it up here. I'm going to get it cleaned out for you. But we need to keep it here. If you want to get the most life out of this thing, and then usually, if they've got allergies or asthma, or they're like, yeah, we've been sneezing a lot lately. I'm like, well, this is going to take care of this. And this product right here is going to help. And then I'll usually offer like discounts on it. Sometimes what I'll do is the evap coil cleaning's like 348, right? Or
Mhm.
261 with the club. I'll offer to clean the evaporator coil for free with the iWave installation. So that gives them a break. And usually that seals the deal right there. Is
Nice.
the discount on it. So, and
Absolutely.
then plus a lot of people are pretty freaked out with like the coronavirus stuff, and I make it clear like, hey, I mean, I'm not saying this is gonna you know kill the coronavirus, but it can't hurt. you know
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
Talking a little bit about you becoming a new supervisor. So congratulations on that. Like I said, what is
thank you.
your being new in this position, right? Because now you're a mentor,
Hmm.
to a group of guys that are going to be underneath you. What is what is your mindset of how you're going to bring these guys up? Are you going to do daily training, weekly training? I mean, what are you going to do? Because there's things
So
that the company's gonna offer you to do or ask for you to do, but then you also got to step outside the box and maybe do Zoom meetings or something like that. So, for instance, what's your mindset?
so I created like a group chat, right? And we've been playing the mine game. So you take a picture and you put mine. So every time you sell a club membership, if you sell, I don't care if it's a freaking blower capacitor, take a picture of it in the back of your van, say mine. Or if you install an iWave, you put it inside the blower compartment and you just take a picture of it and you'd be like, oh, it found a new home. Like I just kind of do stuff like that with them, and just to congratulate their wins, And I just tell them like, hey man, if you need to call and vent and you had a bad call and you need to talk about it just so you can move on to your next, call me. So I've just been trying to help those guys out a bunch, or I tell them, hey, if you need a pep talk before you go in and talk about recommendations, call me. I can give you like some nuggets to use when you go to talk to that homeowner. So I'm just, yeah, I'm going to be working to try to bring their numbers up.
Awesome, brother. And, some things, let's talk about your hobbies and everything, because you've grown a lot since the last time on the podcast, as of some things you've been doing in the